Morning, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Westies Angling. You're joining me and my dad today at German Lane Fishery. Now it might not seem like it at the moment, but it's going to be absolutely scorching today. It's going to be well into the 20s. So what I'm going to do is something a little bit different. I'm not going to be fishing method feeder all day. I'll probably start off on method feeder in the morning, and then what I'll do is when it starts warming up a bit into the afternoon, I'll swap onto the float or pellet waggler. So in terms of the pegs that we've chosen, we don't fish German Lane often, so we're not sure where the good pegs are. I was going to fish on this side, but I don't know whether you can see this on the GoPro. It doesn't really give you an idea, but look at how steep that embankment is. So it can just be a little bit awkward when you're fishing the method feeder. Now, I could have my feeder arm right down, but you're still not really going to get a good line lay to your method feeder. So we've opted for these pegs around the corner. I can still cast to the island, which I'll show you in a minute. But I think our best chance of success today is, like I said, fishing method feeder through to the afternoon, and then when afternoon comes and it's started to warm up and the sun's out and the fish are up in the water, then I'll swap onto float or pellet waggler. Absolutely beautiful fishery here at German Lane. We have done a video at German Lane before. We didn't do very well, but it was in the depths of winter and we just had a really frosty spell. It does fish really well. I will put the address in the description for you. My dad's already set up. Now, there's a few features that are accessible from these two pegs. I can still get round to the islands. There's two islands here at German Lane. My dad started off on the float, and he's probably going to be doing the same as me. You're going to be swapping between float and method feeder, aren't you, Dad? Yeah, essentially. Yeah, so he's going to see how he gets on float. He's fishing a very fine setup. So you're just fishing your normal waggler there, aren't you, Dad? Yeah, normal waggler, 6 pound main line, 5 pound bottom. So nice light setup. Some really good fishing here, I'm led to believe. Plenty of doubles and things like that, but he's skilled enough to be able to land it on this light setup, hopefully. But we'll see how we get on. I'm going to set you up on the camera so you'll be able to see what my dad's doing as well. He's just fishing there about 3-4 foot out from those iris. This is the peg that I've opted for next to my dad. So what I'll probably do is on the method feeder, I'll get my chair set up here. I'll have my method feeder down this margin. I've already pre-baited it. I've put some ground bait and pellets and dead maggots in already, so hopefully the fish are homing in on that. And I'm also going to have a line over to the island. Now it's a fur cast and there are trees behind me here, so I might struggle a little bit. I've got a 10-foot feeder rod. I'm going to be carrying on testing out the Daiwa Ninja. You'll probably already have seen the Daiwa Ninja video if you're following the channel, and we didn't give it a really good test out last time, so I'm going to give it a right good test out today, hopefully get a good few fish on it, and yeah, swap over to pellet waggler a little bit later on. I've got some bread with me. I'm probably only going to be fishing about 1 foot deep when I do swap over to the pellet waggler. I've already tied some hook lengths up, so I can either fish pellet or I can fish bread. There's plenty of bubbles coming up here, look. So yeah, I can get to the island over there, and I've got plenty of features that are accessible to me here. Like I said to you before, we've only fished German Lane once. We're not well up on where the good spots are and things like that, but we're going to give it a go today and hopefully get a few fish for you. German Lane Fishery opens at 6 o'clock. We're here nice and early. It's about 20 past 6 now. There's nobody else here. I'm really eager to get fishing, so I'm going to get my feeder chair set up and then I'll switch you back on. Right, first thing I'm going to do while I'm getting set up is just mix up my method feeder pellets. I've not got many of these Aquastim pellets left. I'll have to put another order in. Oh dear. I've got some other 2 mils in here, because I knew I was running out. These are just normal Fishery 2 mils, nothing exciting. Hopefully the flavours from the Aquastim will mix with those. That should be enough for the morning before we swap onto pellet waggler. I've got some 4mm feed pellets as well. for when I go on to Pellet Waggler. Okay. Water's really warm. It's not as warm as I thought it was going to be this morning though. A little bit chilly actually. Not even brought a coat with me. I've got some bread as well, like I said, for when we swap onto the Pellet Waggler. There's no better bait than bread. Slow sinking bread feed on the Pellet Waggler. Stimulates really quick bites, that. So I'll put my flask there. And let's put the Guru Reaper rod rest on without dropping it in the water, hopefully. There we go. Okay, so that's right. I've already got everything set up. So I just need to get the rods out. So that's my Pellet Waggler. Like I said, already set up, hook length on and everything. So I'll put that up here out the way for now. My dad's had a couple of roach and a bream so far on the float. So they are feeding, which you'd expect at this time of year. Right. Daiwa Ninja's up and running. Just make sure the sections are together firmly. £8 main line on this. Small sized method feeder. That looks alright. Everything's straight. Okay, so we just need to put our hook length on. Size 12 hook I'm using today. And Guru N-gauge line. There we go. So that's the method feeder ready to go. Okay, so I'm actually going to add some attractants to my pellets today. I don't normally, but I just feel like we could use an extra bit of a boost today, because we're not using all aqua stim, which are usually really sweet. So I'll put a load of that in, mix it up with the bottle, because I don't want my hands getting orange. And some of those are going to turn a nice orange colour, and some will stay plain, and that's what I want. I don't want them all orange like my fingers are going to be. There we go. So that's more than enough pellets for today. Right, okay, so we're all set up there. 3 wafters that I'm going to be swapping between today, all 8mm. We've got the pink band and washed out wafters, we've got the mainline match cell, and then we've got our aqua stim F1 Supreme fish meal. So they're a white wafter, they're the pink wafters, then we've got a plain brown fish meal wafter there as well. So a bit of everything, and we'll just swap between them. I'm actually going to start off on a white mainline cell, and I'm going to go down this margin here. I have just seen a big swirl, which is a great sign. There might be a fish feeding on those pellets already. I've got my drag set nice and loose, so that if we do hook anything decent, it's not going to snap the hook length. Let's just see how this sits on the chair. I need to make sure that I'm not falling in today. Let's have a see. So this feeder arm could do with going up a touch. about there. It's going to be good. I'm just going to be underarming it just off these iris here. Okay, let's get loaded up. My hands are going to be absolutely orange by the end of today. I'm not squeezing these pellets in really tight, otherwise they won't come off on the first couple of casts. So just gently pressing them in. Just get a few pellets down there, get some attractant down there. I'm just going to drop this in. Just have a couple of casts down this margin first thing. Hopefully get a big chunk down this margin at some point today. Fingers crossed. I'm fishing for the carp today, targeting the bigger fish. Hence the pellet waggler rather than a normal waggler later on. Bit of a twitch there already, it's a good sign. Hopefully the carp aren't spawning here. I know they're spawning at a few other places. Thought I might have over wetted these pellets a little bit. I left it in a little bit too long. I was too busy yapping to the camera, but they don't seem too bad. My dad's having a lot of roach. How many roach have you had now, Dad? About 4 or 5? So he's had 8 roach. They're all nice roach though. They're not small, are they? I always like to try the margin first cast because sometimes you can pick up a couple of carp doing that. After this second cast, I'll either try casting to the island or I'll go a little bit further out. There's quite a lot of bubbles coming up. Maybe 3 rod lengths out there. So I'll try there. If I don't get anything there, after maybe 3 casts, I'll go over to the island and I'll have 3 lines. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So like a mid-lake line, margin line, mid-lake line, and then over to the island. Quite a good mixture of fish in here, I think. What is it? Oh, it's a good roach, that. All nice roach here. Could be a good place to come if you're into your roach fishing. Just saying to my dad, you'd have thought this cooler morning would have brought them on the feed. It's been really hot this past week. You can never predict it. That's fishing at the end of the day. That's what keeps us on our toes. Didn't quite cast where I wanted to with this cast. I wanted to be a little bit further out. But I might as well leave it there for a second. It's just a bit awkward with that bush behind me. Just having a recast. Dad's got another roach. They're all nice fish. But when I'm loading this hybrid feeder up, I'm literally just leaving the hook bait showing on top there. It's very visual. So they'll come down pretty quickly, hopefully, and take that first. Right, I need to be careful of that tree. That's a better cast. So probably about 12 foot off that island. See how we get on there. Dad's going to use these Aquastim wafters again, F1 sweet ones. Fish just got me into the snags. I had to pull for a break. Luckily the hook length broke and I didn't lose my feeder. But it just shows you how strong this Daiwa sensor mainline is. Very strong. Okay folks, so I've just made a couple of quick changes. I've got my Shimano Speedmaster out here and I'm going to have this one down the margin on the method feeder, and then my other rod I'm going to have out over to the island over there. I've just seen a big plume of bubbles come out just from that walkway where the aerator is there. So I'm going I'm going to try and get somewhere in between that and the island. I think that's going to be the best place to get a fish. I'll have to fish with a fairly tight drag because of how many snags around there. A fish could have me around that walkway, could have me in the snags in the island, could have me around the aerator, so I need to make sure that I'm fishing quite locked up. Right, so let's get this rod back out, and then my Shimano Speedmaster I'm just going to have down the margin here. It's a nice short 9-foot rod and it's going to be perfect for that. Like I said to you before, folks, there's not really a purpose to this video. It's just me and my dad out enjoying a day's fishing. So I'm going to change the tactics where I can, as long as it's getting us fish, because it's not at the moment because I've not had a fish yet. So right, let's do this. It's a good cast, isn't it? I should really clip up there. I'll clip up before I recast to that one. Just going to move this feeder arm around a touch more and then tighten up. Right, okay. Got a normal Preston Innovations method feeder on this one. 45 grams and a nice big size 10 hook. So I'm going to go with the Aquastim F1 and I'm just going to sit that down the margin and leave it. I'm going to double load this feeder. I want a nice amount of pellets down there. I'm actually going to bury the hook bait in the method feeder with this one. It's been a while since I've used normal method feeders on the channel. They definitely have the uses, especially for margin fishing in summer. It's going to go off them plants. There we go. You see how the nice short rod helps when you're fishing in the margin, and this 10-foot rod's ideal for casting over to the island. This is only a 9-footer, the Shimano Speedmaster. Tell you what, folks, I don't know what I'm doing wrong today, but there's absolutely tons of bubbles coming up everywhere. Can't seem to buy a bite. Obviously I lost one fish in the snags. Keep getting little twitches down here in the margin, probably small fish feeding on the pellets. Right, folks, so while I'm not catching, I thought I'd tell you some things about German Lane. £6 for a ticket. I think that's for 2 rods as well. It doesn't say anywhere on the rules that you can't fish 2 rods. No boilies, jokers, ground bait or floating bread. Obviously we're going to be using slow sinking bread flake, which is fine. And owner accepts no responsibility for the loss or damage to your property, so on and so forth. You can park behind your peg in a few places on German Lane. They've got 2 lakes. They've got a donut lake, which is the lake that we fished in winter. Here we go. That's a carp. That's a carp. Not the aerator. I'm just going to tighten my drag up. Oh, I thought I was gonna lose that to the aerator then. Oh dear me. Oh, what a time to get a bite. First fish of the day. I think it's only a small carp. I must admit, I don't like this long handle on this Daiwa Ninja. It gets in the way a little bit when you're playing the fish. I think there's some nice fish in here. I think there's some like ghost koi and stuff like that. Boom! Hey, save the blank. Went mental this one. Oh, hook's come out in the net as well. There we go. Probably £3, something like that, £2–3. It's a start, it's a fish. Happy days. Yeah, as I was saying to you before I got that fish, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you to the video that we did in winter here, which goes through a little bit more detail on the other lake and also about the fishery. I'm into a fish over by the island. It feels like a bream. Either that or it's swimming towards me. Oh, it's pulled out. Very odd fight that. We're in on the other one though. That's a definite fish, I think. There's a lot of roach in here, and I think the roach are plucking at the bait. That's my opinion. I think the roach are plucking at the bait. I think it's still on. It must be a roach. It's very jagged. Weird fight. Don't feel right up method feeder. I think it's a bream actually. Little bream, little skimmer dead. Wasn't in long. That water's really warm. Ah! God, I hooked myself in. If I've not had anything decent on this cast, I'll probably swap over to the Pellet Waggler for a bit and we'll get a few of these roach. Or something. Bream or roach. I've got everything that I need ready for fishing the Pellet Waggler. Another bream over to the island. Little skimmer and the pink wafter. Okay folks, so Pellet Waggler. I'm actually not going to start off on pellets, I'm going to start off on bread. I have tied another hook length on, which is probably a similar sort of length to this, but it's banded so I can use a pellet. This is a bigger hook than the other rig that I've got tied up. That's literally for the purpose of using bread and targeting maybe some of the slightly bigger roach, slightly bigger rudd or carp that are in here. We'll start off with this size and using slow sinking bread flake. We can always swap over to a lighter, smaller setup if we're not getting anything on this, can't we? Some of the roach in here are decent, so I don't think they'll have any trouble taking this. I'm just squeezing that, leaving some of the point of the hook showing, because you need something to hook the fish with. You don't want to cover the hook with the bread. And because that's squoze tightly around the shank of the hook, it'll actually sink. Okay, I'll show you. What I've also got is some 4mm here. So every cast, I'm just going to get the fish competing. Not going to be fishing far out at all. I'm just going to use these feed pellets and just drip some in. And that should produce a fairly quick bite. I'm hoping this 3g Pellet Waggler is not going to be too heavy for a roach to pull under. I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh, it's gone straight away, look. It's getting hammered, that bread. Look at the size of that roach. Brilliant. So that hook size isn't too big, and that's actually a size 8. It's a size 8 feeder hook, so but you saw that was as live as it gets. First cast. Nice roach. So again, this setup for the beginners out there, got a nice heavy duty setup. It's 8-pound mainline, this 13-foot carp waggler, and I've got my 3 gram weighted pellet waggler there. That basically is self-weighted, so you don't need to put any shot on it, and it'll sink perfectly in the water to the right height. And I've just got it secured in place with a couple of float stops. I've got a figure of 8 loop knot there on my main line, just so I can loop to loop that with my hook length, which has also got a figure of 8 at the end there. And then I've literally got a knotless knot tied to a size 8 feeder hook there. I like a feeder hook when I'm fishing like this because it's got a slightly outturned eye, which just gives you a nice straight presentation on the point there. You've not got it bent right in or anything like that. You've got a nice wide gape hook to hook fish, even like those little roach. Well, they're actually decent roach, to be fair, but so again, I'm just passing that hook through, moving it forward a bit, pushing the point through, bending it round and squeezing it around the shank of the hook. Nice and easy. Keeps the hook point clear. You probably can't see it on the GoPro, but there we go. Bread's ideal for this because it's nice and soft and you can strike through it. So again, just taking some 4 mils. It's difficult when you're filming this. Underarming some out. We'll get them fish competing in the water. I'm going to wait a few seconds. Another handful. And then we'll go in with the bread. And this will go straight under. There'll be no messing about. It's jam-packed with them little roach. Should really have sunk my line because it's drifting, but it don't matter. Wait till it goes under. Missed it. If we keep missing these small roach, I'll swap onto my my pellet rig. I'll literally just change the hook length. There we go. Put that in there for now, along with that one. So there we go. That's just your normal banded rig. I'll put one of these 4mm pellets in. Could even use a wafter. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, because I've had it kinked up on that cardboard, I'm just going to run my fingers down it a few times just to get all them kinks out, so that the rig sits nicely. Same thing, just going to loop to loop it. With the main line. There we go. Should be able to hook them roach now. Well, you'd like to think so anyway. Might swap over to that Aquastim wafter because it'll sink slower, be more attractive to them, I think. It's a very heavy float, that, so you will struggle to pull it under. It'll only be the better fish that'll be able to do it. Getting a bite pretty much every... Oh, that hooked itself. And sometimes they just hook themselves like that. Oh dear. It's a bream this, it's a nice one. Really tentative little bite, if it's a good fish. Very, very shy bite. Might be a roach or something. Good roach. Chub or an hide maybe? Oh no. Little F1. Little chunky F1 with a dodgy lip. It's a very, very tentative bite, that. Got a small fish on this one, I think. Something on it. Reel it in slowly so I don't lose it. Little tiny skimmer. Where are all these nice carp? I'm going to put this one back down the margin because I've just seen a big carp move through this peg. Just having another go down here because I've just seen a big carp sort of moving through really close in under my feet. That's why I was really surprised that I didn't have anything down the margin this morning. And the wind's blowing right into this margin here, so I don't know, it just seems like there would be fish down there to me. I've just hooked my margin monster. Oh dear. Proper got himself in the back there. Well folks, I honestly don't know what to try and target a better fish. I could swap to a bigger hook bait, like a 12mm wafter. That's definitely an option. And just swap out my hook lengths. And just maybe lay it down the margin here. So I could do that. The Pellet Waggler was just too much work with all them small roach. I think this is my last cast like this, and then I'll put a bigger hook bait on, change the hook lengths. Well, I've just swapped over to a bigger wafter, 15mm, over to the island still. And I think I'm into a carp here. Finally. Been a very slow day's fishing today. Still not a big one, but still a carp. Makes some really weird creaking noises, this Daiwa Ninja rod. Oh. There we go folks. and that's what I caught it on. Literally just put a bigger hook bait on, bigger hook as well. So that's a size 8 hook with a bait screw on it, with a 15mm DNA Baits white bug wafter. So it just shows you sometimes swapping to a bigger bait like that can have an effect. We're just getting pestered by them small roach and bream, stuff like that. I mean, it's not a massive carp by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still a carp. Just a couple of pound, but very welcome. It's very, very tough days fishing today, and there's no reason why it should be a tough day's fishing today. The weather conditions are perfect. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, water temperature's warm. The only thing that I can think that might explain it is it's absolutely jam-packed with small fish here, and it's just getting through them, or maybe the fish have just finished spawning and they're not yet back on the feed. That can be a possibility. There's loads of things obviously that it could be, but it shouldn't be anywhere near this tough today, I don't think. Well, I've just had a fish on a little pink pop-up, but it's hooked itself. There's a couple of carp moving through here. Very tough fishing today, as I've said. We're going to call it a day soon and get packed up, but just having another go for these margin carp. They definitely are moving through the margin. I don't know why they're not taking any bait off the method feeder, but like I said, it is warm. Not really taking it off the top either. Oh, just picked at the float. Patience is key here. I need to strike at the right time. He's just come up and nibbled the float, so he's surely going to take that bread that's just sat underneath that reed. We're in, guys. On the Pellet Waggler. Be a good fish to end on this, I think. Not got much GoPro battery left. Might have to switch it back on when it gets a little bit closer. Don't know how big it is yet. It's taking line still. Can't go mental with it. I'm only fishing a 7-pound hook length. It's not happy, this fish. Oh wow. I've seen a bit of a swirl. It wasn't a massive swirl, but it's fighting like a warrior. I don't know whether it's just because this is a light setup that it feels so big, but it does feel like a nice fish. Either way, I'm taking it easy. I don't want to lose it. It's definitely the best fish I've had today. Hopefully the battery doesn't die on this GoPro. No. I don't think it's massive, but it's powering around. I don't know actually, it could be a good fish this. It's fighting like one. Unless it's foul hooked, but I doubt it. I'm putting a bend in this float rod, this carp waggler. Not seen it yet. It's, as soon as it comes up to the hook length, it's back down again. Oh no, it's a good carp. It's a mirror. I think it's a good fish, that. That's a very good fish. Oh, it's one for the own hooking mat, definitely. Right, it's going again. Oh my god, what a warrior of a fish. It's a good carp, that. This old float rod is not liking the bend. Oh, it's making some noises. This is the longest I've played a fish in a while. It's a good fish, this. Definitely. Oh, in the net. Oh, look at this chunk. This is a double. Oh, look at this. Oh. Oh. Oh, look at this. Oh my god, it's just starting to get a hump back and everything. I'm going to weigh this. What an absolute beast. Oh dad, no wonder I was playing it for ages. Hooked perfectly. Oh, look at that thing. The belly on it. Look at that absolute monster on the float. I'm going to weigh it, Dad. What do you think that is? 12? Well, I've weighed it, folks. It's just over double figures. Absolutely bonny fish, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah, it is bonny fish. Very
really
nice
deep,
condition.
yeah, really nice condition. Nice mouth on it. Nice colours. Deep bodied. Warrior. Right, I'm going to get it back. Margin monster. It did fight hard, it's probably tired. Oh, brilliant. Well folks, I think that's a great fish to end on. Very, very welcome fish after a really slow day today. And that was on the Pellet Waggler. So Pellet Waggler, slow sinking bread flake. The float absolutely shot under. I struck into it and I was playing it absolutely ages. I've not had a fish on for that long in ages. On the method feeder you can kind of bully him in, but on that float rod it was just going round and round and round. As soon as I saw the hook length it was back down again, it was gone. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this short method feeder and pellet waggler video. Don't forget to check out the link in the description to get yourself some Westies Angling merch if you're following the channel. If you're not already following the channel, now's your chance to do so. Just hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell icon as well, just so you're notified and you don't miss another video. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.